Your needs are unmet, taken for granted and overlooked. You're giving and not being received in the way that you want, that makes you feel alive. You're emotionally exhausted from carrying the weight of the relationship, and it feels one-sided. You feel as if he just doesn't hear you. He just doesn't get you. You've tried telling him exactly what you need, and when you do, it just ends up in a fight, and you're more drained after than you were before. You feel like this isn't the man you fell in love with. If he literally just listened to you, he could actually make this relationship work again. When he comes home, he just wants to sit on the couch, watch TV, escape. It makes you feel dead inside. All you want to do is scream inside. Let go and actually have someone in your life that you feel like you can rely on for once in your life. But honestly, you can't. Because deep down inside, you feel like you can't trust him. So you're feeling this way not because he isn't giving enough things to you, but because he's not helping you feel the way you need to. And every time that you want to communicate to him or tell him what you need, you're actually trying to control the situation. Because ultimately, deep down inside, you're trying to control your feelings and control your life because they're just not working for you for it. You're not just suffering alone. Your energy is drained and exhausted, and it's not just because of your man either, but it's how you're trained by life and society to relate to your energy. In a sense, you are a victim because you don't have control over what family you were born to. So we're born to parents who did not have the emotional nuance or development able to help us understand our deeper aspects of self and how to communicate them. They were born into a society that neither needed conscious polar communication or just couldn't have it because it wasn't a priority at the time. The basis for any healthy relationship is devotion, independent healing, attraction, sex, and yes, communication, but not in the manner that we all think we need or the way that your average therapist would tell you. The type of conscious and intentionally polarizing communication I'm speaking of is the one that will help you solve all of your relationship issues, and we're about to discuss it. So in this video, I'm going to take you through exactly what it is, how you can apply it, and why it works. So by the end of it, you will know what to do, but the question is, will you? See, the healing that comes along with it is difficult and contrary to the concepts we've learned, because society really sells us a fake front of what healing is, like this pleasant, nice, scenario. We have we have guys in man buns chanting "Oh," making us think that healing feels good when really it doesn't. Last time I checked, healing occurs when there's something wrong in the body. It's the progressive stages of feeling and improving one's condition that make you feel better. That's the healing. So delving into an unhealed wound and learning how to communicate yourself in the whole actually might make your central nervous system in serious defense mode. It might make it scream, but getting in there is the healing. A woman has needs to be seen, to be heard, and to be cared for. But she also has needs to be attractive and be attracted to want to be cared for on one hand, but also be ravaged sexually on the other. See, most men have no idea how to deliver both. What we generally see is men who can deliver one without the other. So the art of creating something deeply fulfilling, both sexually and spiritually, is art in of itself. The thing is, so many of us are working with so much societal conditioning and programming that without taking actual conscious and learned action on it, we will likely fall subject to the socio-engineering and what we learned, generally by conditioning. The fact that most of us don't even realize that mainstream media has for many years and currently communicates to women the necessity of their independence and shame around dependency on a man or the masculine. It's essentially conditioning women to spend more time in their masculine energy, and on the flip side, conditioning men to express and emote their feelings like women, letting men know that in order to get their needs met and contribute to their partner's happiness, they need to be emotionally available. See, there is a way to get to the point where your internal energy will shift, that you will grow in the capacity to be able to transform and heal yourself and your relationship. And if it doesn't, then it's upon you to leave as a woman. Doing the work and it's not working, the man isn't responding, then it's up to you to leave. See, it's natural for our masculine and feminine instincts to need to want to come online, but unfortunately they've been suppressed over the years. We now live in a world and a society that has given us the opportunity to have higher states of consciousness. And because we no longer need to survive, all that we need is really surrounding us. And the opportunity for success and easy living and tapping into those instincts is more accessible than it ever has before. So now that we have some background, let's get into the actual transformative methods, the techniques I've been discussing. This is a method of communication for women speaking to men based upon the principles of polar communication. It's meant to be used as a means to create healthy and empowering relationships between men and women. The core of it allows your feminine energy to express your needs in a manner that will actually inspire a man to want to listen to you and not the opposite. Inspire a man to want to take care of you. Because at the core of every woman's need is the need and desire to be taken care of. The feminine energy wants to be seen, wants to be cared for. But when you try to force a situation or to get an outcome by fawning, manipulating, you're using your masculine energy. You do this by judging a man internally. He's not doing this right. He's not doing this right. That eventually comes out as telling him what to do, trying to force what you want, and maybe even by putting him down, yelling at him, or directing him. The feminine energy really wants to be cared for, wants to be seen, and wants to be led. But when you try to direct the situation, force an outcome through manipulating and even fawning, you're actually going into your masculine energy. You might do this by judging a man internally, and then you want to ask him and tell him what to do. Sometimes you might get upset and put him down or use toxic communication or yell at him. You can see this often in many relationships where sometimes women will even begin to get annoyed by their husbands. They'll ask them to do things. Please help me with the dishes. Please help me do this, thinking that ultimately this is going to make them happy. But it really doesn't. And I've seen this in so many different relationships. What happens is when you go into your masculine, when you're trying to receive an outcome with your partner, you're actually emasculating him, because he then needs to go into his feminine. Because what's happening then is when you're asking him and directing him, he's going into his feminine to submit to you, to surrender to you, and sometimes even people please. When he agrees to what you want, especially for the sake of shutting you up, that's exactly what he's doing. So on some level, you might make you think that you're getting what you want, but you internally will never be satisfied. Externally, you may seem to get what you want, but internally, you will continue to grow resentful. Your attraction will continue to wane. This is a pattern I've seen play out in relationships time after time, again and again. And the thing is that people have no idea what's going on, and they just continue into that loop where she's trying to get what she wants to direct him. She's trying to get what she wants to ask him. He feels more emasculated by saying yes to her. He just wants to shut her up. He just wants to give and give and give to her. But really what's happening is he's going in his feminine energy. She's in her masculine energy. And here you have this vicious cycle that no one is going to be able to get out of. So essentially what I'm teaching you here is exactly how to get out of that, reverse it, and then recreate the polarity. I'm going to explain to you the steps that you need to do in order to get out of this cycle. And for many, it's going to be extremely difficult. And I would say even for most, it's going to be difficult, because your wounded feminine heart was trained to be tough and independent. You learned that expressing yourself and crying and being vulnerable was too much. Thought that this display of emotions are weak, and therefore you learned that expressing yourself softly would not help you. You're essentially in a survival mode and continue to create hurt, and then hurt the relationship. Step one, you must stop judging him internally in your mind, because eventually your judgment will externalize. We can only take care and heal ourselves, and this is where it begins and ends. Ladies, that means that you need to be self-aware enough in the moment when you realize that you are judging him to stop that judgment immediately. And the first step is to make sure that you are being as self-aware as possible. Step two, you need to let go of control of the situation and control of your husband or any form of directing. Because like we said before, direction, trying to get what you want, is putting you in the masculine energy. Step three, you must tune into your internal feelings, not the situation or what has happened. So as opposed to saying, I was in the restaurant this morning, I just wanted to order a chicken Caesar salad, and the waiter took 30 minutes and it was so hot. And finally he came. Oh my God, I can't believe that it took him that long to get here. Oh, right? That's an example of expression when you're talking about the scenario. Being able to communicate this in a way to your partner would be, hey, I was at the restaurant today and I was like really, really hungry, and I was already kind of tired and a little upset from the morning. The waiter took 30 minutes to come. It was really frustrating. And right now I'm just feeling really sad and really tired because of what had happened the whole day. Now, that's an example of communicating the story and the emotion underneath. This is what we learn about in polar communication. You must tune into your internal feelings and not the situation that has happened. Although you should be aware of this, but there are underlying basic emotions that you've experienced as a result of this. You're hurt, confused, sad, happy, angry, frustrated. What often happens here is that there's a confusion behind expressing of emotion and the sense of feeling, the feeling while discussing a particular circumstance. We need to be able to separate the two, because when communicating vulnerably, we want to communicate the feeling that we have and not just the scenario. Clear act of stating the feeling that's going on underneath is exactly what will reciprocate care and love from the masculine. Telling him about a scenario is more of story. These are two completely different actions that will stimulate completely different responses from a man. The first being an expression and response that will usually stimulate a negative response. Men often will also become defensive naturally because they think that the woman is talking about them. Really what's happening is she's internally trying to control or direct the conversation in order to get a particular outcome. Really what you want is to change the situation and to change the outcome so you can have a different internal experience. You want to express, your expression must come from a point of wanting to share your internal state, as in your emotional internal feeling, releasing it from an outcome, right? We want to do it in the most soft and feminine natural state that will initiate feminine softness, and then will cause a man to want to respond to it, to care. So how do we deal with a scenario where maybe he hurts you and he upsets you, and you want to be able to share in a way that's going to bring you guys closer together? Hey baby, can I share with you how I'm feeling? Yes. You know, when you did this and this, I felt this and this. When you went out and you raised your voice at me, I got sad or really scared. What you're doing is independently communicating your deepest needs to be heard in a soft and gentle manner. You still know what you want. You know the outcome, but understand that you're doing it from a point of expression and not from a point of trying to control the situation. But the communication from the feminine in this form inspires men to want to care, to tap into their masculine side of their energy. It's empowering for men to hear this. It will make them want to give you what you're needing as the feminine. It'll make them step into the role as care and provider. Then automatically what happens is the dynamic of the relationship is actually changed. Ideally, you want to ask permissively. And many women will have problems with this because society's taught them independence. It's taught them ego, and that submission is actually really disrespect. But ultimately, it's the opposite. If submission actually happens with the right person, it begets loyalty. So then the relationship will naturally polarize. This situation necessitates that you actually think about what's going on and be conscious of the way they communicate. Masculine energy is the energy of doing. And this polarized expression inspires him and doesn't push him away because you're in your feminine. In order for you to be able to receive the man that you want, you must be able to do the right things. Unless what you really want is to push him away. Let's talk about another scenario that's super common that happens amongst couples that causes a woman to be in her masculine: mothering. You would never think that it was control, but when really you look at it deep down inside, it is. I mean, you're either reprimanding, you're correcting, you're judging. All of these energies is you being in your masculine energy. Generally speaking, you think that you know better and you're trying to lead the situation. Although it can trick you into thinking I'm just helping, because when you take a look deep down inside, you see you're directing. Remember, directing is that masculine energy. It's very dangerous for you to constantly be mothering your man, or instead of inspiring his leadership through feminine communication, which we talked about. And if you look deep down inside, you're going to feel that when you're mothering him, that you're actually in your masculine energy. That's never where a woman is supposed to be, and it's dangerous for the relationship. You want him to want to be the man that you need. Mothering him is putting you into the position of masculine energy, because as a parent, your direction, leading, and teaching is coming from a place of wanting to direct the situation because of your lack of trust in your partner, the lack of trust in his leadership. When you internally have a lack of trust in his leadership, he will feel this internally, and so will you. Trusting yourself to the core and understanding how to consciously submit is going to change all of this, because of the self-work and self-awareness that you are bringing to the table. The acronym HEALS, which I've created as an acronym to help you understand the framework for this and remember it, will help you remember the action steps to take in order to consciously communicate and thereby heal yourself, and take part in healing your relationship. Here we go. Heals. H. Halt judgments. Stop judging him internally. E. Ease control. Let go of trying to control or direct. A. Awareness of feelings. Tune into and acknowledge the internal emotions. L. Lightly express. Share feelings softly and vulnerably in a non-toxic manner using the words, I feel this. S. Stimulate care. Inspire his masculine energy to care and provide naturally. So we all know how difficult it can be to communicate in a conscious manner when we're in the throes of emotions. But remember, that's really in that point when you're really feeling that much in between stimulus and response that you have the opportunity to make that choice. Now, in these scenarios, time is on your side and time is your best friend. So I would suggest, instead of responding immediately, when you are feeling some way, when you are feeling intense, just to take a moment, set aside, and think about how you want to respond. It'll help you. Also remember that this is exactly where the healing process happens. This is where the healing takes place. And this is where you will ultimately be able to repair your relationship. Style for men, it's called Luca. Specifically when men are speaking with women. It's one that also necessitates conscious direction, and it's designed to help men lead women back to their emotions. Smash the like button, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll catch you in the next video.